As a senior health data analyst currently working remotely for 2 companies in the UK, I have experienced data analysis job market from the inside. I've seen what companies are hiring and what kind of candidate they do hire, and how AI is completely changing the game entirely. So today, I want to tell you the brutal truth about the data analysis job market in 2026. So you now get to decide if data analysis will be the best fit for you after this particular video. In this video, I'm going to be answering 5 of the biggest questions data analysts all over the world are asking in 2026. We'll start by finding out whether data analysis is really dead. Then we'll uncover whether data analysis certificates are still worth your time and your money. After that, I'll explain why most beginners never get hired and what actually gets candidates hired in today's competitive job market. And finally, I'm going to show you how beginner data analysts are making a lot of money and building successful careers in 2026. By the end of this video, you have a clear understanding of what data analysis job market really looks like, what employers are actually looking for, and exactly what you need to put yourself ahead of the job market competition. So let's get started. Now let's start with the biggest question everybody seems to be asking in 2026. Is data analysis dead? If you've spent 5 minutes on LinkedIn, Reddit, or even on YouTube, you've probably come across headlines that says data analysis is oversaturated, AI is replacing data analysis, or there are no more entry-level jobs in data analysis. And after seeing those kind of headlines over and over again, it's easy to understand why so many people are beginning to question whether the data analysis career is even worth pursuing anymore. But here's the problem. Most people are asking the wrong question. The real question is not whether data analysis is dead. The real question is, has the job market changed? And the answer is yes. 6 years ago, when I became a data analyst, becoming a data analyst was relatively straightforward. Companies were racing to become data-driven. We had demand for analysts everywhere. Data analysis was going faster and talents were available. And if you learned SQL, Excel, or built fewer dashboards, decent dashboards at that time, and had a well-written resume, you have a genuine chance of landing job interviews. Fast forward to 2026. Right now, the landscape looks very different. Today, thousands of people are entering data analysis every single month. We have online courses that have made learning even more accessible than ever. We have boot camps that are graduating thousands of aspiring analysts, and AI can now write SQL queries, clean data sets, build dashboards, and even explain trends in a matter of seconds. Now, let's add remote work into the mix. Companies are no longer choosing from candidates in one city. They are choosing from candidates all over the world. So naturally, competition will definitely increase. But here's the part most people are misunderstanding. More competition doesn't automatically mean fewer opportunities. Think about it this way. Owning a smartphone, if you have a smartphone today, is completely normal. But 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it was not normal. The smartphone companies stopped making money because more people owned the smartphone? No. The market simply got matured, and that's exactly what's happening in data analysis. There are more aspiring analysts than ever before, but there are also more businesses relying on data than ever before. We have the healthcare, we have the finance, we have logistics, manufacturing, we have marketing. Almost every industry now depends on data to make a better decision. And the demand didn't actually disappear, the expectation just changed. And I believe that's where many beginners became discouraged. Someone spent 6 months learning the SQL, they earn a certificate, they build 3 or 4 or 5 dashboards, they apply for hundreds of jobs. But then they get nothing. No interviews, no callbacks. Eventually, they now begin to convince themselves that the data analysis journey or the data analysis career is actually dead. But that's usually not what happened. What's actually happening is that companies have become far more selective than they were a few years ago. They are no longer hiring someone simply because they know how to build a dashboard. They are hiring people who can solve business problems. Can you explain why revenue dropped last quarter? Can you identify customers that are likely to churn before they actually leave? Can you automate a reporting process that saves your team 10 hours every single week? Can you help a business make smarter decisions that increase revenue, reduce cost, and improve efficiency? Because that's really what companies are wanting to pay for now. Not dashboard or report, but for what? Better decisions. Today's market is rewarding people who understand business, who can communicate clearly and think critically, and know how to use tools, including AI, to create immeasurable impact. And that's the brutal truth. Data analysis is not actually dying, but it is evolving. And people who evolve with it won't just survive in the market, but they will thrive in it. Now, let's talk about one of the controversial topics in data analysis right now. Are data analyst certificates still worth it in 2026? Well, I'm sure if you've been researching how to become a data analyst, you've probably seen the same recommendations over and over again. They tell you to get the Google Data Analyst certificate, complete a bootcamp, and earn a few certificate, where they tell you to update your LinkedIn profile and then start applying for jobs immediately. It sounds like a very clear roadmap, but then something strange happens. You come across people who have 3 certificates, 5 certificates, sometimes they even have 10 certificates, and they're still saying the exact same thing. They've applied for hundreds of jobs and they can't even get one single interview. So naturally, we now begin to wonder if certificates are supposed to help people get hired, and why are there so many certified candidates still struggling to get a single interview? The answer is actually much more simpler than most people actually think. The biggest misconception is believing that a certificate is a ticket to a job. No, it isn't. A certificate just proves that you've learned something. It doesn't prove that you can actually apply it. And those are two completely different things. Imagine you're hiring someone to renovate your house. One person walking carrying a folder filled with a lot of certificates, and the other person opens a laptop and shows you 5 real projects they've completed, explain the problem they solved and the decision they made and the result they were able to achieve. Who are you going to trust with your money? Well, most people would choose the second person, and that's the same way employers actually think. They're not hiring people because they finished the course. They're hiring people because they can actually solve problems. And that's why someone with an excellent portfolio project often gets further and further than someone with 5 certificates, 10 certificates with no practical work to show up. Now, does that actually mean that certificates are useless? Not at all. It's not useless. In fact, they are incredibly valuable, but for the right reasons. If you're completely new to data analysis, a good certificate gives you the structure. It introduces you to the fundamentals, to the foundation. It develops your foundation for you. It keeps you accountable and builds a confidence. And that's what a certificate is supposed to do. The mistake happens when people expect the certificate to do the rest of the work for them. Because once you finish learning, the real learning now begins. And that's why you start asking your own questions. That's why you start building your own project. That's why you start working with messy data sets. And that's why you start making mistakes, finding better ways to solve problems. And that's where employers begin to pay attention. Here is something I wish more beginners actually understood. Companies don't actually hire for effort, they hire for evidence. A certificate shows effort, a portfolio shows evidence. And in today's market, evidence wins almost all the time. So if you are thinking about getting the certificate, my advice is very simple. Do it because you want to learn. Do it because you need structure. Do it because it helps you understand the foundation of data analysis. But don't expect that certificate, whether it's from Google, a university, a bootcamp, to convince an employer on his own will give you a job. Your project will do that for you. Your problem solving skills will do that. Your ability to communicate, business value will do that. And once you understand the difference, you will stop chasing certificate and start building the kind of experience that actually gets people hired. Because the question was never, are certificates worth it? The better question is, what are you doing with the knowledge after you earn that certificate? And that's it. And that's the answer employers are really looking for. So now, if certificates are not actually enough, and most beginners keep making the exact same mistake, what actually gets someone hired in 2026? That's the big question. The answer is surprisingly very simple. It's not about knowing the most tools or who know most of the tools. It's about giving a company confidence that you can solve their problem. Think about every job posting you've ever read. Companies are not looking for someone who knows SQL just for the sake of SQL. They are looking for someone who can analyze customer behavior with that same SQL, who can improve operational efficiency with that same SQL, who can reduce cost, increase revenue, and support better decisions with that same SQL. The tools are simply just the vehicles. The destination has always been the business impact. And that's the mindset that separates candidates who get interviews from candidates who keep refreshing their inbox hoping for a reply. One of the biggest differences is the portfolio. Most beginners think a portfolio is a place to prove that they've learned Power BI, to prove that they've learned SQL. But employers are not opening your portfolio to admire your chart or your dashboard or your data visualizations. We are opening it to answer one simple question. Can this person solve problems like the one we face every single day in our company? And that's why original projects almost always stand out more than copied projects you see on YouTube. Companies hire thinkers, not tutorial followers. Another thing that separates successful candidates is that they understand the business behind the data. They don't just explain what happened, they explain why it happened, and more importantly, they explain what should happen next. That's what we call predicting and forecasting. Now, because businesses don't just pay analysts to describe the past, they pay analysts to help them shape the future. That's the difference between creating a dashboard and creating value. The same principle applies when you submit your applications. One of the fastest ways to get ignored is treating every job exactly the same. If you've sent the same CV to 200 companies, the same CV, you've probably made it easier for 200 recruiters to reject you for the same reason. Now, the strongest candidates don't just apply, don't just click buttons to apply. They position themselves, they adjust their resume to reflect the role the company is requesting. Now, they highlight the projects that are more importantly and more relevant to that particular company. It's a little more work, but it tells the employers something very important. This person will understand our business, and that matter. Then there's also what? Networking. I know some people hate hearing that word. They immediately imagine awkward conversations or asking strangers for a job. But no, that's not networking. Real networking is much more simpler. It's consistently showing up, sharing your project, talking about what you are learning, commenting thoughtful on industry discussion, building genuine relationship with people already in that field. Because opportunities come from familiarities too. People naturally recommend professionals they've seen consistently creating value online. The same goes for your LinkedIn profile. Think of it more as an online resume. It's your professional reputation. When a recruiter searches your name, what story does your profile tell them? Does it simply list skills, or does it show someone who is actively learning, someone that is building projects, someone that is solving problems and contributing to the community? And that's the mindset employers are actually looking for. So when people ask me what actually gets someone hired in 2026, and my answer is always the same. It's not the person who knows most of the tools or who have mastered all the tools. It's the person who can prove that they can create more value. Because at the end of the day, companies don't hire for dashboard. They hire for better decisions. If you can consistently demonstrate that through your project, your applications, and your interviews, your personal brand also, you will immediately separate yourself from thousands of other candidates who are still competing on tools alone. Now, let's talk about the question that everyone really wants an answer to. Can you make money as a beginner data analyst in 2026? My answer is actually yes, but maybe not in the way you actually think. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is believing that the only way to earn money is by getting a full-time job or an internship that is paid. So they get to spend months of their time, even years of their time, waiting for that one company to finally say, oh, you are hired. Meanwhile, they are completely ignore the opportunity that already exists around them just by being a data analyst. A full-time data analyst role is still one of the best ways to start your career. Fine, you gain experience, you learn how business actually use data, you work with real stakeholders, and you build the kind of credibility that opens bigger doors later on. But it isn't the only part. In fact, for many people, it's not even the first part they make use of. Think about how many small businesses make decisions every day using just spreadsheets or handwritten reports or simply guesswork. Most of them do not need a team of data analysts. They just need someone who can organize their data, build a dashboard, and help them automate their report. You understand? Help them understand what's happening in their business. And that's an opportunity. And the interesting part is that most of these businesses are not asking whether you have 5 years of experience. What they're asking is just a simple question. Can you help us? If the answer is yes, you've already created value. And that's why freelancing has become such a powerful option instead of waiting for a full-time job. Whether it's through platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, or reaching out to businesses directly, companies are constantly looking for people who can clean data, build reports, automate repetitive tasks, and create dashboards that help them make better decisions. And every project you complete becomes something even more valuable than the money you've actually earned, because it becomes experience that strengthens your portfolio, experience that makes employers more confident in you. That's how momentum is actually built. Another opportunity many people overlook is creating digital products. If you've built a powerful Power BI dashboard or an Excel reporting template or a Tableau visualization, there is a good chance someone else needs it and you can actually sell to them. You get to build it once and you can sell it many times to many small businesses that will make use of that small business system. It's one of the few ways you can make money as a beginner data analyst, because when you build systems like this, you get to keep reselling it over and over again. They keep bringing income to you at every point in time. Even when you're sleeping, you get money from it. When people begin to buy these courses, you get money from it. Do you understand? And that is the brutal truth about the data analysis job market in 2026. The opportunities are still here, but the people getting hired and making money are the ones who understand how the market has actually changed and are willing to adapt. So my challenge to you is actually this: don't spend the next 6 months collecting certificates or copying another dashboard from YouTube. Do you understand? Spend that time in building projects that actually solve real business problem. Spend that time in improving how you think as an analyst and creating values that employers can actually get to see. If you do that consistently, you would always be ahead of most beginners that will be entering that field today. So my next video is a very important video you must not miss. And in order for you not to miss my next video, make sure you subscribe to this channel now. Click the subscribe button. It wouldn't take you up to 2 seconds. Click that button now and click the notification bell so you'll be notified immediately I make the next post. Trust me, you don't want to miss this opportunity. You don't want to miss this knowledge. And also, if you want me to send you the full guide on how you can start making money as a data analyst before even getting employed, especially as a beginner, comment data in the comment section and I'll send it to you immediately. Also, if you are interested in a 5-month paid mentorship program where I take you from being a beginner data analyst to a master independent data analyst in the space of 5 months, message me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn link is in the description of this video. Message me on LinkedIn now so I can send you the full package so we can start immediately. See you in my next video.